Hello everyone, welcome to one more anatomy lecture on Salmonella Place. And we are using again the fantastic 3D models that you can find and you can use free of charge on www.zygotebody.com. Today we're going to discuss the collarbone or the collarbones, also known as the clavicles. We're going to go into the details on these very important bones. So we have here your clavicle or your collarbone. This is, I just highlighted the left one, but of course you have two collarbones or two clavicles. And I'm showing you from every angle so you can have a perspective on this 3D model. And you can see it inserted into the entire skeleton as well. What I wanted to try to show you here by isolating it is that this is a long, slender, S-shaped bone. Clearly has an S shape, as you can see. And going back to it, I'm going to find the right position to show you something that it's important to know about the clavicle. What I want to show you here is that medially the clavicle is convex forward 2/3 of the way of the clavicle, and laterally 1/3 of the way is concave forward. So this is the lateral side and this is the medial side of the clavicle. Now what I want to try to show you here are the articulations of the clavicle. And to do so, I'm going to stop highlighting the clavicle and go back to the full skeleton. So you can see here clearly where these two clavicles are articulating with. So the first articulation that you need to see is medially on this area here. I'm going to try to highlight it. So here, as you can see, it's the clavicle is articulating with the manubrium of the sternum in the facet that is specifically for the articulation of the clavicle with the sternum. It's also articulating with the first costal cartilage, this first costal cartilage that you see here, and also on this side. Same thing is happening on this side. So also in this side of the sternum and the first costal cartilage on this side as well. This is what's happening medially. So this is medial side. Now also here. On the lateral side, the clavicle is articulating with this process here. So it's articulating with the acromion process of the scapula. Same thing happening here, and this is lateral. Now I'm going to try to clear this out. You know what I'm showing this right now. I'm going to clear it out so I can show you on the 3D model. So as you can see here, there is articulation of the collarbone or the clavicle with the manubrium of the sternum right here and the first costal cartilage. And here you can clearly see this process of the scapula is articulating here with the acromial side of the clavicle. So what I want to do now is give you the names of the structures of the clavicle. Now let's look at it superiorly. I'm turning here the skeleton and I'm going to clear it out so you can have an entire view look at the clavicle. And what you see here, this part here, this area is called the shaft or the body of the clavicle. Now on this end here, this is looking at it laterally. So this is the lateral end of the clavicle, and this is called the acromial end, and this is where it articulates with the acromion process of the scapula. Now on the medial end, this is medially, this is where it articulates with the sternum and also the first costal cartilage like I mentioned before, and this of course is going to be called the sternal facet or the sternal side of the clavicle. What I want to do now is clear this out and show you again what I just mentioned. If you see at the entire skeleton, you will see again the same structures, the acromial end and the sternal end of the clavicle. And of course, this is the body or the shaft. Now what I want to do here is take you to the inferior side of the clavicle. So we're looking at it inferiorly, and I'm zooming it as much as I can. And now what I want to show here by removing the skeleton is three major structures that you need to know. The first one is on the lateral side. This is the lateral side of the clavicle. In this area here, you will find a line, and this line is called the trapezoid line. And this is where the trapezoid ligament will bind to or attach to in this area of the clavicle, laterally. Another structure that you need to know, if I move a little bit, you can see here on the inferior side there's kind of like an extension or protrusion. You can see if I move like this is called, this area here that let me highlight, this is called the conoid tubercle, and this surmounts the coracoid process of the scapula, and this is where the conoid ligament will attach. The last structure that I would like to show you here is this impression that you see here, quite clear. This impression here on the clavicle, this is the impression for the costoclavicular ligament, quite clear, and this is medially. So this is the medial side of the clavicle. Now what I would like to do is to take you to the entire view of the skeleton again and show you these structures again. So if we see here on the lateral side, you should have the two trapezoid or the trapezoid line running here. Here you find the conoid tubercle, and here on the medial side, you will find the impression for the costoclavicular ligament.